Yeah, it looks like this is going to be one of those Jakus complaints for 6 to 7 minutes straight type of videos.
You're watching Jakus.
I've been wrapped up in a lot of Fortnite discourse this last year. Rarely do I say anything or give my real input, but I like to see what people are talking, and more interestingly, fighting about. And look, hey, Fortnite fans will complain about everything, but since mid-2024 there has been a consistent point of contention amongst players that's worth discussion, in what I like to call crutch items. But first, here is how I define crutch items. A crutch item is a special, unique, seasonal item that takes the shape of something, pretty much anything, that is not a gun. Generally, they tie pretty heavily into the theme of the currently ongoing Battle Royale season, or potentially a collab, and are unlikely to ever see a return after that season is over. These items are generally on the more powerful side, and are rarely as strong at the end of the season as they were at the start. These are the items that define a season. You will encounter them in almost every match, as they become a reliance for some players. Over the years, Epic have certainly leaned more into making items that fit some or all of this description. Wilds had the kinetic boomerang, Last Resort had the rocket ram, and Myths and Mortals had a small selection of godlike powers. However, it was the great and noble season of unending community division, Chapter 5's Wrecked, that saw the introduction of what I believe to be the catalyst of this issue, the Nitro Fists.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire!
These big slappers have two moves: a primary attack, consisting of a set of punches you can chain into an exciting combo, and the second move, a big leap into the air you can use to literally punch your way through the sky, or ground pound back down for maximum damage. The Nitro Fists managed to avoid a lot of the debate because people were too distracted by the Death Machine cars roving around the map, but they still came under a good bit of scrutiny, and deservedly so. Let me quickly preface this by saying that I really enjoyed Wrecked. I am by no means a blind hater. It's easily the season I had the most fun in during Chapter 5, and that's because I played it almost entirely with my friends. It wasn't until I hopped into solos later in the season that I truly discovered the terror of the Nitro Fists. Let's compare the Nitro Fist to a conceptually similar item, Chapter 4 Season 2's Kinetic Blade. Just hear me out. The Kinetic Blade's primary attack is a 2-hit combo slash that does pretty reasonable damage of 35 per hit, plus a dash attack that deals 60 damage. The dash attack only has 2 or 3 charges, rarity dependent, and has a 10-second cooldown between dashes. You enter an animation to wind up the attack where you're exposed, and on top of that, both attack types have a moment of lag time. Basically this little moment where you're exposed, and you're unable to perform another move after finishing the attack. The Kinetic Blade is what we call a finisher item. You use your guns to get an enemy low, then get up close and slash them down for the finish. If you try to exclusively use the blade in battle, you're gonna lose. You're too vulnerable and the blade's combat abilities are very limited. Despite that, this was a must-carry item in Chapter 4 Season 2. Good players always carried it because it was useful, but balanced. Compare that to the Nitro Fist. The primary punch attack consists of a 3-hit combo of up to 70 damage per hit with very little exposure time after each attack, allowing you to switch to other weapons or build almost immediately. Compared to the Kinetic Blade, the hitbox in the Nitro Fists is much larger, allowing you to just thrust vaguely in the direction of your opponent and still somehow clock them, whilst the erratic animations make it harder to shoot the user as they fist you to death. That sounds weird. The Nitro Fist thrusts the player forward at great momentum, whilst the primary attack also deals over 100 structure damage per blow, which allows users to pretty easily phase straight into an opponent's box. And this was pretty much the meta. Punch, phase, switch to a gun, or don't even do that, just keep fisting until you see that glorious elimination message. The secondary uppercut attack launches the player upwards with incredible momentum, with an enormous area of effect that deletes all builds in the nearby radius and hits players in said radius for 70 damage. There is a small wind-up animation, but it is very short, and given the insane scale of the damage output, it's really not a sufficient warning. The Nitro Fists did receive nerfs as the season went on, but they remained pretty much absolutely insane right through to the end of Wrecked. The next season brought War Machine's Arsenal, which is literally just an itemized mech from Season X, so that should really tell you all you need to know.
鬼の島
Chapter 6's first 2 seasons saw the introduction of 2 melee items, the Typhoon Blade and the Kneecapper. I don't really have a major issue with either of these items personally, outside of one-off incidents in which I was frustrated by someone wielding one. Both really just have minor balancing issues that could pretty easily be fixed, but they still generated much discussion and I think are worth at least mentioning because a lot of people did not like them at all. The Typhoon Blade mainly suffers from the secondary dash attack having a huge hitbox, much larger than that of the kinetic blade, on top of the bouncy movement animations making it a challenge to shoot a blade user as they approach. The Kneecapper on the other hand really just needed something to balance the charged up swing attack, maybe a cooldown after using it, or just less damage on the attacks. I think the knockback should be enough of an impact, but that's easily the least problematic thing I'll be talking about today. The main issue with these 2 items is how people use them. As is implied by the term crutch items, a lot of, shall we say, lower level players use these items in place of damn near any other offensive item, spamming right trigger or left click or whatever and just praying they'll combo enough damage to take you out. I don't know, maybe it's some sort of item elitism, but it does quite annoy me when I encounter someone who is overly relying on a seasonal item. I fully understand that a lot of these items are just fun to use. They are designed so that they control well, but I think some people simply rely on them to a frustrating degree because they don't require a tremendous amount of, well, skill. You don't have to aim, you don't have to reload, you just run and spam. It's it's not fun. But it's around this time that I started to notice a real issue that's been developing, and it's one that can again be traced back to Regt. Runaway culture and the secret 5th crutch item, cars. Let's have a little history lesson. The Joyride cars were introduced in 2020 with a variety built for different strengths. You had the boost-equipped speedy sports cars, pickup trucks that fared well off-road, big rigs that are slow but stronger, and the well-rounded sedans. However, with the release of Chapter 5 and the introduction of car cosmetics, that selection got whittled down to just 2 cars, the sports cars and the new off-road SUVs. Half a year later, Rekt launched and essentially merged these 2 into one, with really only a visual distinction. Both of these cars control the same on and off-road, have a pretty hefty boost, a lot of health, and can even be healed all the way to max at a gas station. While the implications for Rekt itself are pretty clear, with the gun turrets and spiked bumper power-ups laying around, the long-standing effect is less talked about. Fortnite is now a game about running away. Players will come out of nowhere, run you over to deal max damage, hop out and start gunning or building, and then if you fight back and deal a good bit of damage, they'll just hop back behind the wheel and speed off, like nothing ever happened. This is a problem. If you willingly engage in a fight, you shouldn't have a free opt-out of this encounter token, and yet that is exactly what modern cars are. Sure, you can follow them, shoot the car, but it takes a lot of damage to destroy one of these cars if they don't just refuel and heal up at the nearest gas station. And even then, there are a ton of these bad boys around the map, so they can just hop into another one and keep driving. I mean, I thought this was Fortnite Battle Royale, I wasn't aware I was playing Grand Theft Auto, but what do I know, right? The runaway culture isn't limited only to the cars. Other seasonal items like the Lawless Rift launcher could be considered crutch items because they make running away incredibly easy with little to no real skill involved. Remember when grapplers gave 4 damage? They don't anymore. There's absolutely no risk to using them, and that's not fun. That's not interesting. My good friend and respected data miner AllyJax had a tweet go viral recently, where he chased a Joyrider for over 3 minutes straight before finally catching up and securing the elimination. A lot of the replies put the fault on him for focusing on this player instead of just giving up. And hey look, I get it, being endlessly chased in Fortnite is annoying. But the person running away held a medallion. These items literally exist to give you a fighting advantage while advertising your location, and if you pick one up, you're willfully engaging in any fight that comes your way until you drop it. So why run? Why not stand your ground and fight? And this situation happens in damn near any match these days. My opinion is, I understand there are situations in which a tactical retreat is necessary. I'm not saying that you should just accept death and always never run away. But if you're going to spend your whole game dealing no damage and running away, why are you even playing a Battle Royale game? What is the point? Go and play Lego Fortnite.
Oh my god, bro.
Chapter 6 was doing so well, and then the beast was unleashed. Storm Beast is a wild item, and I'm honestly a little bit shocked that it actually exists, that it actually found its way to release. Perhaps it escaped. Storm Beast's pom-poms can be activated almost instantly and transforms the user into a savage beast, an infinitely lasting form with a much higher sprinting speed, a crazy high jump that comes with a built-in area of effect slam attack with virtually no cooldown time, rapid melee attacks that shred through builds and phase the Storm Beast through them, and 600 health. In Chapter 6 Season 3, it is not uncommon to get a player very low on health, only for them to transform into the Storm Beast in a split second, and suddenly they have 600 more health. Then they'll either shred through me since I'm also weak from the fight and don't have 600 free health, or alternatively run to, guess what, a car. I think the most insulting part is how if you miraculously defeat the Storm Beast, the player just pops out at basically full health and shield, meaning you have to burn through a 600 health demon from hell just to fight another full health player. That's fun and fair, right? I don't think so. I feel like that part could be resolved fairly easily. Maybe the more that you damage the Storm Beast, the more siphon you get back. I don't know. The worst part of all is that the Storm Beast, unlike a lot of these other items, doesn't even feel good to use. It's clunky, the controls aren't great, the camera is pretty wacky, but it's undeniably strong, so people will continue to use it. Make Fortnite a gun game again. And look, I'm not denying that a lot of these items are really cool, but I think that a little more consideration should be placed into if these are truly balanced for the loot pool metas they exist in, or if they're just going to cause people to quit out of the match. That battle bus car cosmetic is pretty cool though. Almost makes the pain and suffering worth it.
Oh my god, where? Fuck this.